Welcome to an all-new season of Celebrity Catwalk. I'm Stephanie Matera. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Stacey Radin. She's a psychologist, thought leader on leadership, and she is also a founder of a nonprofit organization called Unleashed, and she's an author. And she's here to tell us more about her path of life story. Stacey, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So I'm very excited to talk about the Brave Summit, but before we get to that, I just want to delve a little bit into you as a person and sharing with our viewers your path of life story, because you've had transformative moments that brought you to now.
Yeah, so I have a unique story, is that I came from a very working class, poor working class family, and was on and off public assistance and food stamps, and I was the oldest, so I was the caretaker of my three younger siblings while my parents both worked. But I always knew that that education was my ticket out. So I was really smart and really strived to do well in school and figure out, it was almost like a mouse in a maze going, there is a way out, I know
yes.
There is one, but where is it? And I also was really feisty and oppositional, so was always pushing the envelope, and my father would say, I think it as a self-talk to himself, you're gonna do great things. You're gonna channel all of this and do wonderful big things in this world.
That's
and
right.
we all don't know what it is yet, but you'll find it.
Wow, yeah. You're the ultimate brave girl.
Yeah, in so many ways, right?
So you've pushed past your fear. What are some of the qualities that you think are inherently in women that make them natural born leaders?
So I think women, I would say that they also could develop into strong leaders. I think women minimize their strengths. Men tend to over-exaggerate them. So, but I do think the qualities, the DNA of a woman in the sense of, what I have found is that she's the change maker. So she'll see something wrong in her community, and it's not just about her, but she needs to fix it, she needs to fight for it, she'll put others before her. And is that one that invests in other people, not just about herself. It's that she has this mission to do something greater than herself. If you asked her to negotiate for herself, she might not be so great at that, but if you asked her to negotiate and advocate for somebody else or something else or a cause bigger than herself, she would be the first one fighting through hoops to make that happen.
I've seen that a lot in my own personal life, and I've seen that in the community. Women are very strong leaders, and I do think when they are doing it on behalf of someone else, they find that strength that maybe they don't have for themselves, and they push through it, and they're very brave because they have to be, because someone needs them.
Exactly, and that was the research that led up to Unleashed, is that when I interviewed the 300 women, it was remarkable how when a woman is passionate about a cause, that she was willing to leverage her power. But in terms of other things, like I said, like negotiating her salary or her promotion, that wasn't really her driving force. But just as you said, when she had to, use her strength for the power of good, then, she made it happen.
That's very inspirational, and I think also as women, we're watching other women, or girls watching women, and I think seeing them create those examples gives other women the belief, hey, I can do that too.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you for what you do, because you really are an exemplary person, an example for that. You touched on Unleashed, and for our viewers who don't know, your nonprofit organization was built in 2010 off of this study that you just referenced. And since that time, you've helped 500 girls, and they're grade school age, middle school age?
Yeah, so they're now they're 10 to 17.
Okay.
The majority of our girls are middle school, but now we've extended into high school. And so, yeah, we're in 5 boroughs of Manhattan, and we come and partner with schools. So it's a real partnership between Department of Education schools that believe in gender equality. It has to come top down so that the principal does want to back this and believes in it and shows the girls that, oh, this isn't just another after-school program, but I believe that you girls are leaders and you can be community leaders. So we go to them, and then they learn that their community, their school, is their launching pad. So everything they're learning about leadership and obviously applying it to the animals and animal rights, but then they use their community as the low-hanging fruit to engage them and inspire them, because every activist needs a following.
That's right. And it's a 12-week program. And so do they get the puppies in their infancy and then they foster them? How does the program work?
So it's really a hardcore leadership. It's a very transformational journey they go through based on my model of power and the work that I've done with women and the research. So in all honesty, they see the puppies for very, very short time.
Wow.
So they're thinking about animal rights and how it's synergistic with human rights. They're learning about all the issues and getting to the core root of those, and then giving the power and the permission to have the power to change those and create sustainable change. Then what we know is they're only 10 to 15. So if we don't have any access to a dog or an animal, that we know will lose them. So the animal acts as like a passion, you know, like that's their perk, that's the hook. And then we do operate a rescue on the side. So Unleash the Rescue and Unleash the Program go coincide, you know, kind of parallel.
I love that so much.
And then they're doing the puppy socializations of all the pups that are coming into our rescue.
Getting them ready to be adopted.
Yes, exactly.
So what I love is that you talk about compassion, emotional intelligence, you're talking about animal rights and human rights being synergistic. And I think that is really special and unique to you. I think more people are getting on that bandwagon, but I don't think compassion and emotional intelligence are talked about enough when we're speaking about leadership. So how have you seen the dialogue change around your organization and your study and what you're espousing?
Right. So I've studied emotional intelligence pre-Unleashed and was certified by the father of, you know, emotional intelligence. But I've always believed that if you look at leadership, it's psychological. So it comes from within. And unless you can, because your goal as a leader is to lead others, to develop others, to invest in others. But if you can't see somebody else's perspective, and everybody on the team might be different. It's like raising children, right? Not every child is the same. So that you have to adapt, and that's your goal. You're the tool, right? That's your job, is not to do the day-to-day work, not to get the, you know, the props of it. It's, you know, yes, it's a promotion, but your job really is to develop and invest in other people and watch them grow. And so social emotional intelligence is such a critical component, and I do think empathy in this world is on the decline, and that is a concern of mine.
I definitely agree with you. And I think showing animals, I mean, they are the most vulnerable population aside from children and the elderly, but animals are super vulnerable. And to take your leadership and to take care of and foster and nurture a being, not dominate it, because I think there is a certain tendency in our society that leadership is dominance instead of, like as you said, empathy and highlighting people's strengths and helping other people, cultivating them as you cultivate yourself.
And it's interesting because the girls will see that so clearly, I think more clear than an adult. They'll say, they're the weakest members. They don't have a voice. They can't call 911. If a child is being beaten, they have to go to school. They have to show up at school and report it. But an animal could be behind closed doors and nobody knows and nobody's fighting for them.
Right.
And they can't go work, right? Or they can't go to a friend's house and sleep on a couch. So they think of the animals as such a weak member, and that it is their responsibility to advocate for them and their rights.
I love that so much. And I want to also talk about, you've worked with women of all ages at all stages of their personal and professional development. So you've worked with executive women as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I left after I put myself through school and killed myself. No, I'm still here. Is that I wanted to have a bigger impact. I couldn't see myself sitting in an office waiting for patients to come to me. So I thought, okay, business is a microcosm of society. My passion is women. I want to advance women in business. So I put together this whole model of how leadership is psychological, and that, yeah, it's great to say as a company, you know, I want to have a leadership program, or I'm going to let my woman, you know, employees have a coach, and we'll give them that. But I would say to companies, that's not sustainable change, right? So you're saying the woman is the issue, so let me go fix them, and then I'll bring them back into your environment. And I used to turn it on its head and say, no, I'm here to do a systemic kind of change. Is that yeah, I'll develop your woman, but also let's talk about your culture. Once I develop them, is it going to be a culture that they can come back to and grow?
Exactly.
And if not, then we have to fix the culture first. And if you don't believe in that philosophy, then I'm probably not the right consultant for you.
I love that you're so open and upfront. And I've looked at your website and I've read your bio and Simon & Schuster, and you've worked with some really big companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, some big brands.
So, you know, part of it is convincing them that why should I change my culture? Like, we're okay with everything. Like, why do I have to shift? And so really getting to the consulting around, if you want to keep women, and there is a business case for having women on the board and in leadership roles. So if you want to attain that, it isn't just as simple as let's send all our women off to get, you know, healed and fixed and coached and then bring them back and everything's going to be fine. And I think that's a misperception.
Definitely, because it has to be a transformative experience, not only for the women, but for the corporate culture as well, for it to have sustainability. Otherwise, like you said, you're not the right person because you're going to be wasting your time. You're not going to make real systemic change. And I want to talk about cultivating power and passion in women. How else do you do it besides your great work that I admire so much with Unleash.org? But how do you help women tap into that power and unleash it?
I think it's giving them the permission that it's not a luxury. So I say right off to women, passion and power and purpose it's a necessity. So it defines our existence. You know, it's about thinking about why am I here? And women, what I also found in my research is that when they don't feel like they're making a difference or having an impact, they can't go to work and have a job. It's not about the paycheck. It's more about why am I here? Am I working 90 hours a week for a cause or for
this
a
girl
purpose?
right here you're describing.
Exactly. So you have a meaning and purpose. And so
I have to, yes.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I'm suffocating.
Yeah.
Or I'm not living my truest identity and my calling, you know, from a higher power.
So that's what I say. And then, you know, there's the naysayers that say, that's Pollyanna-ish. Everybody doesn't love their job. I'm like, no. Everybody can love their job. If they want to take those risks and dream big and dream about the possibilities. And people will say, well, you know, women especially, what happens if I dream big and it's a disappointment because I don't make it? And my thing is, and? You know, are you resilient to get back up? I mean, my Unleashed was born out of the biggest failure of my entire career.
Do you want to talk about that?
Sure.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing to talk about. So I had an agent, a really good one, so it was not her fault. And I was supposed to take that research and write a book. It was called The Pink Elephant in the Room, or whatever it was called. It doesn't exist at all. And I got rejected by every book publishing company that existed, even ones I never even heard of.
Wow.
And at one point, the fall 2009, my agent sits me down and was like, time to stop this. Like, let's get off this bandwagon. And I was like, what do you mean? This is such a great idea. And she's like, well, the publishing companies are telling you don't have a media presence and you don't have a following. And yes, you write well and you have great ideas and your research is great and you have credibility, but you're never going to sell a book. So I was like, I cried for about 5 days.
Yeah, because you put all this time into it.
It was 3 years of interviewing those women. And I was like, but I'm also not, and this is where I went, I'm not being good. Like, I promised those women that I was speaking to them for a cause, not just wasting their time. And their stories were so heartfelt and they were consistent. Like, I felt like I was letting the women down that I had interviewed. And I pushed it all away. I was like, okay, I'm not meant to write a book. I'm done. And I couldn't stop thinking about the research. And I was like, maybe I'm not meant to do the book. Maybe I'm not meant to sit in a corner and write a book, and that's not me. So what about if I took the research and I made it applicable to somebody and used it, and then adolescence came up because that's what my dissertation was on, adolescent female identity development. So I knew that was a perfect time to start cultivating power in girls when she's like, who am I? So it's like, before you decide, let me come in and help you think through, like, who are you? But maybe twist that a little bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. And clearly, being a published author is not a pie in the sky idea for you. You've done it, and this is an incredible book. So for those of you at home, this is called Brave Girls, Raising Young Women with Passion and Purpose to Become Powerful Leaders. So this book came out earlier this year in 2015. And now you're actually doing a summit called the Brave Summit, and it's on Saturday, November 5th at the Fordham Institute for Women and Girls. And it's the book kind of come to life, and I've looked at some of the sessions, and I thought maybe let's talk about some of the topics you're going to cover and really illuminate this topic for everyone.
Yeah, so what I found was when I was on the book tour all last year is that I was having the same conversations with women and girls regardless of how old they were. But none of them believed, I was like pollinating all these conversations, none of them believed that, oh, a 10-year-old girl thinks about feminism or stereotypes. And then the same when I would bring the conversations I had with executive women back into Unleashed, and the girls were, you still, even as adults, you still like have challenges? And it's like, oh boy, yeah.
Yes,
Let me tell you a few of mine, okay? So what I decided to do was, wouldn't it be a great idea to bring women and girls together in one day to develop, together, take the topics that are in the book, like feminism, gender sexism in the city, which is about stereotypes that
I
still
love
exist.
the play on words.
And passion and power and even just things like dating and relationships and building an entourage, right? So that women can build the sisterhood and sisterhood. Because everybody's like, oh, does that really exist? Well, what I see is that women crave all-female communities that are supportive where they can be authentic. But they don't know how to find those communities.
True.
And they don't want it to be mean girls. That's the biggest fear is this everybody's going to get catty and defensive and competitive. So it's the unconference, I'm calling it, because it feels like a retreat. But we have great women that came out to speak because they believe in the concept of, let's do an unconference. Not the same, oh, let's talk about our strengths, but let's talk real, authentic dialogues, and let's let the audience participate. So it's kind of more of a retreat type feeling with a panel of great experts, cross-generational. So we made sure to put a college student or a high school student on each panel. So the moderator can kind of think through the generational differences and similarities to kind of hit home the point that everybody's a brave girl, regardless of how old they are.
I love that so much. There's 70 panelists and speakers in total, and they run the gamut from nonprofit organizations to financial institutions, media companies. A real big one for me, being a girl growing up in the 80s and 90s, was Emmy.
Oh, I know.
Supermodel and activist. I mean, she predates Ashley from Sports Illustrated. She was the first girl to own being beautiful in her own skin, not fitting the mold of what the modeling industry was all about. And she's your keynote.
Yeah, she's amazing. I've had many great conversations that we talk for 2 hours. And her agent's on the phone with us, and she's like, okay, ladies, it's 9 o'clock. And we're like, oh, I know, but wait, just one more time. I just need to talk to her about being a mom, because we're both moms of teenage girls. So we're like, let's talk about being a mom of a teenage girl.
That's incredible. She sounds very awesome and down to earth and interesting. And just some of the workshops I pulled out were Leadership 3.0, Building Enterprises and Careers That Soar with Leslie Grossman. I was also interested in Discover Your Life and Leadership Purpose with Patrice Tanaka. And then I love Play Like a Girl, leveraging DNA. And we have Brave Voices, Powerful Communication. I'm a communications girl, so that one really struck a chord with me. But could you speak to any of those? Yeah,
so Play Like a Girl is really about it's a chapter in the book. So that's what I tried to do as much as possible, is leveraging your DNA. You saw that great thing Always did, which I love. I could see that commercial 20 times over. And it is about girls throwing, and so play like a girl, be able to embrace your femininity.
Right.
Too many women think they have to don these veneers of the male, and then it's not authentic. Everybody knows it's not authentic. You feel like a fraud and an imposter.
Right.
And you're not leveraging what's uniquely female to you, like we talked about from the beginning, right? What's the female leadership? You're not leveraging those things because you think that they're not valuable.
Right, and why should you have to relinquish femininity to be considered strong, to be considered a leader? Women are inherently strong. We give birth, right? We do a lot of things that require immense strength. And as you said, we love to be a voice for the voiceless and a protector. And so we don't need to relinquish our femininity to be strong. We actually have to live it and bring it out to its forefront.
And there are societal pressures that I was in graduate school, very competitive, and I remember heads of hospitals saying, oh, you are so much smarter than you look. And I was like, I can't believe you just said that, you know?
Wow.
And these were heads of psychiatric, you know, like like big hospitals in New York saying this, and I just was shocked that you would actually say that.
Right.
And I was like, oh, what is, and so I would say,
what does smart look like?
That's exactly what I said in the interview.
Can you enlighten us?
Yeah, tell me what smart looks like, because maybe I will want to look smart, you know, tell me. And he was like, oh, you're feisty. I was like, oh, so if I stand up for myself, I'm feisty. Otherwise, I should just sit there and be pretty.
It's incredible. You know, I've been told I smile too much sometimes. And I think, you know, I've also been told by other people, wow, your smile's really inviting and, you know, it makes you feel like you're approachable and things. But I had a professor, a male professor, tell me once in class, you smile too much. And I was like, really?
Yeah, and what does that mean? That I'm happy?
But I really just want to thank you today for being with us. You're an incredible person. Dr. Stacey Radin, please go out and get her book, Brave Girls. Welcome to the Halloween edition of Celebrity Catwalk. I'm Stephanie Matera, and today I have Brad Wells with me and his family, as well as some scary folks you might see sitting behind me. Well, the Legends of Fear is in Shelton, Connecticut, and Brad Wells is here to tell us more. Thank you for coming, Brad.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
So the Fairhill, am I saying it correctly, Fairview Tree Farm?
That's correct.
Okay, Fairview Tree Farm is a family business. And so it dates back to, is it your grandparents or?
My great-great-grandparents purchased the land in 1842 when it was originally a dairy farm and a sawmill.
Oh, wow.
And my wife and I got the farm from my grandparents, and we started the haunted attraction business in 1997, 20 years ago with our first haunted hayride.
That's amazing. So there's been an evolution of the programs that you offer. I know you have 150 trained actors. What can people expect now when they visit the Legends of Fear?
Well, this year, for the third year, we have a second attraction, which is called the Melonhead Revenge Trail, which sort of derives from the legend of the Melonheads, which inhabit the woods of Sawmill City Road in Shelton.
Oh.
So we have some mutant beings that live back there in the forest, and our visitors can come from all over and see those creatures on our trail, as well as a second attraction, which is our 20th year for the Haunted Hayride.
Wow. And so you probably sell out, and I know you can buy tickets online. Do you recommend that people buy their tickets in advance?
You can purchase your tickets online, but we also always have tickets available at the farm.
Okay.
And up until this point, we typically have not sold out.
Wow, all right. Well, maybe after you're on Celebrity Catwalk, you'll sell out.
Maybe. That would be wonderful.
So how many people do you typically see on one given night?
Well, early in the season, attendance is much lower because people are just getting in the Halloween spirit. But as we move to the middle of the month and later parts of the month, on our busiest nights, there may be up to 1,000 people at the farm at any one time.
And what time do you start?
Folks start arriving about an hour early, around 6 p.m.
Okay.
And which is when the ticket window opens.
Wow.
But both events start around 7 p.m. when it's dark.
Oh.
It's usually dark in October, especially middle of the month and the end of the month by 7. And as long as someone purchases their tickets by 10 p.m., they'll be able to attend the attractions. We don't shut down at 10 o'clock. We keep going till the entire line is all used up.
Really? So how late have you ever stayed till?
Well, one year we stayed just before 1 a.m. on the hayride.
Wow.
It was a long time.
That's dedication. Now, I know we have some special folks behind us. We have your wife, Trish, and your daughters. So can you tell me what their roles are at the farm and how they help you out?
Well, Trish is co-owner of the farm, along with myself, and she is involved in the day-to-day operations of setting up the hayride and actor management, as well as overseeing everything to do with the actors, the hiring, and the placement of the actors on the trail, the haunted trail, and the haunted hayride. Wow. My daughter, Deirdre, who is currently a student at Keene State College, is coming home on weekends to work at the farm for us.
Aww.
And Deirdre's a senior, and around her busy schedule at college, she comes home and she is the head of our makeup team.
Wow.
And we have to transform not quite everyone, because some of our actors are in masks, but a good part of them are in full-blown makeup, and some of them has prosthetics that go on them.
Wow.
So
like movie makeup.
Like movie makeup.
That's really cool.
So I'm not sure how big Deirdre's team is, but I'm sure there's at least 6 or 7. Deirdre, are there more?
We have about 5 or 6.
5 or 6 makeup artists. My daughter Caroline is involved with the actor management on the trail, as well as costuming, as you can tell. from our lovely Rose Wade here.
And Deirdre transformed her.
Deirdre transformed her, yes.
And it's so cool. She has these contacts in that make her look like a real zombie. It's pretty cool.
Oh, they're real. My mama's half wolf.
They're real, that's right. And who else do we have behind us? What are the characters?
We have Twitch as our clown, who's
Okay.
Ricky Baxter. He's been with us for quite a few years now.
And you know I'm very scared of clowns, and he's behind me, which is crazy, because I'm like super afraid of clowns after watching Stephen King's It. Forget it. I'm like, he's lucky I let him in studio. Is he like doing something behind me now? Ah, oh my God. He's smelling my hair. It's a little serial killer-like. And
Our Mr. Piggy is Alec Petrie. He runs the butcher shop in our dark barn. We have a dark barn scene, which
Oh, wow.
there's some trade secrets we can't give out, but it's probably one of the more scary scenes in the Haunted Hayride, where
Okay.
our folks are literally trapped for a few seconds of time, and it's pretty terrorizing. So Alec runs that scene, and Alec has been with us for over 10 years.
wow, incredible.
And this is Zan Jadrowski, and John has been with us also for quite a few years.
Wow.
John works on the Haunted Trail as well.
Oh my goodness. And so my other question is, you have supported Make-A-Wish Foundation of Connecticut.
Yes.
And why is it important for you to give back, and why do you choose this charity in particular?
Well, being a small farm and being a small farm in the community, Trish and I, along with the girls on our team, felt that giving back to the community would be important. Make-A-Wish is a very important charity, and
Yes.
literally the name Make-A-Wish, we're helping children make their wishes come true. If we can help families, it helps us as well.
Yeah.
So we were scheduled to run our charity fundraiser on October 9th, but we'd rained that night.
Yes.
So we were rained out, and our event wasn't able to go off.
Yeah.
But we did run for Make-A-Wish the following Friday, and we ran very successfully, and we'll be donating 25% of our total proceeds to them.
Wow,
so
that's
which should
incredible.
be in excess of $5,000 at least.
Wow, that's incredible. And I know some of the actors actually forfeit their pay for that night
That is correct.
to be charitable and give back as
That
well.
even helps the total even more
That is
importantly.
so incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. If our viewers want to check out legendsoffear.com, how much would it cost for them to attend your event?
Well, we have a combination ticket this year for $34 for each ticket, and that will enable them to ride both the Haunted Hayride, which is 1¼ mile Haunted Hayride, and our Haunted Walking Trail, the Melonhead Revenge Trail.
Wow.
Or they can purchase just the Hayride ticket for $20,
Okay.
or purchase the Haunted Melonhead Revenge Trail for $18.
Okay, great. And what's the total run time?
The total run time, if you did both events, is slightly over 1 hour of entertainment time, but each event is slightly over half an hour long.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming. I really
Thank you so much,
appreciate
Stephanie.
it.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
to the Wells family for coming all the way from Shelton, Connecticut. Be sure to go to legendsoffear.com to pick up your ticket and get super scary for Halloween. For Celebrity Catwalk, I'm Stephanie Matera. We'll see you next time.
Happy Halloween.
Woo.